our main focus, 98%, is single family homes. They're always going to be bought. They're always going to be sold. There's always going to be people getting married and buying homes. So it's a nice place to live and to work. Yeah. All that to say, when you use the right system, have the right support team, and have the right legal paperwork, now you've protected yourself the best you can. There's nothing that's fail-safe, but you've protected yourself the best way you can, and our agreements do that very, very well. Very custom. The other piece of the family is people are vested, right? Everybody's vested. Everybody has a really strong, deep desire. There's a lot of trust built up, and they all get a piece of the deals as we go. No one's got a free ride, so to speak. No one's got a salary. It's all per deal. That's a healthy environment for anyone, family or not.
And that's next on Bootstrapping Your Dreams show. So, the big question is this. How are ambitious people like us, who don't have a lot of resources, did not go to Ivy League colleges, were not born into wealth, how do we become resourceful enough? Use our creativity, our dedication, and a little bit of crazy to bootstrap our way to realizing our dreams. Whether it is launching a new company, launching a new app, or making it to the top of the corporate ladder. That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. Hey listeners and viewers, we have created a tremendous community of bootstrappers, entrepreneurs, and professionals who are ambitious, resourceful, and want to get things done. We brainstorm, support, and help each other out. Come join us. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. That is bootstrapping.group. If you like this video, do not forget to hit that like button now. Or if you want us to improve our content, go ahead and hit the thumbs down button and give us your feedback in the comment section below. Here at Tetranoodle, we are passionate about entrepreneurship, technology, and innovation. Every week, we bring you insightful and engaging interviews, tips, tricks, and strategies to help you grow your business or rise in your corporate profession. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. And do not forget to hit that bell icon so that you are notified when we publish new content. Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams show. I'm your host Manuj Aggarwal, and today we'll be talking with Chris Prefontaine. Chris has had multiple careers within the real estate industry spanning more than 25 years. During the 1990s, he built more than 100 single-family homes, and today his family-owned business in Newport, Rhode Island, still buys 4 to 10 properties per month via lease purchases and owner financing. He has engineered more than $75 million in transactions. Chris is passionate about continuing education and helping others grow to grow their real estate investment business portfolios. This compelled him to begin sharing his strategies and insight with others who want to build wealth outside their core businesses. He has coached more than 30,000 people throughout the US and Canada during the last 17 years. Welcome, Chris. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, great. So tell us a little bit about your journey. You seem to know a lot about real estate. So tell us how you got started and what kind of strategies you uncovered, and share a few with us if you can.
So that we're not here for several hours, I'll just give you like a 10,000 foot view if that's good.
Sure.
And we can go back to whatever you want. So I started in 1991. So I'm dating myself a bit. It's been 28 years now, so it's been a while. We started building homes, Manuj, single family homes. We did that though, even back then without banks. We didn't even pay subcontractors or the lot owner until we had done the home. So we waited, everyone was on terms. And then somewhere around 1995, I bought a brokerage. I had never been a realtor, but I bought a brokerage, became a realtor, became a broker owner, and then built that with the intent of selling it, which we did in 2000. We sold it to Coldwell Banker. And then from 2000 onward, as you just alluded to, I started coaching all throughout US and Canada, doing my own investments. And then that led us up to the 2008 lovely real estate crash debacle. And so after that, we had to do some major re-engineering because we lost tons of money and tons of projects. But to a positive, that's why we're doing what we're doing today. It caused us to totally re-engineer our business. So it is a family company buying and selling in New England. And then we help students all over the country. And then we help what we call associates actually do deals with them all around the country.
Awesome. So this is a fascinating thing, what you brought up. Like you said that you didn't pay anybody until the home is built. Is that how you operate even today, or has that changed?
Well, you couldn't build like that now. I shouldn't say couldn't, but markets are so busy now. For example, I'm building my own house now, and I pay weekly because you can't get people if you don't now. But back then, lots weren't selling, and builders weren't busy. And I was driving in my car actually with a family business, had nothing to do with real estate, and I heard Earl Nightingale. Now I'm dating myself there again too. He's been passed away now for several years, but Earl Nightingale told a story on a CD, probably was a cassette back then, that talked about the Depression, and a gentleman that went around, he had no money, and went around and he put lot for sale signs in people's lots. This is during the Depression. Yeah. And they allowed him to sell them, and then he would do a similar thing. So I got that idea and said, wait a minute, maybe I could do that, and then get a builder and pre-market an entire home and pre-sell it, and then build it, and then not pay everybody till the very end. And it worked. And lot owners got their full price for waiting. Subcontractors got a guaranteed, work, and they weren't working much then. So it just worked in that time. Nowadays, no, to build a house, but we don't do that. We buy and sell homes. And we do that without using banks and without using our own funds and without signing on bank loans.
So it's amazing how, one CD or one cassette tape sort of led to this huge business.
Crazy.
And so it seems like you are trying to do the same thing now. You, from a home builder, you are an educator, you are teaching other people. Is that correct?
Yeah, so what's kind of neat is myself, my son-in-law, Zach, and my son, Nick, and we've got a great team too, but the three of us are buying and selling property in this area. So we're always in the trenches. And I think that's super important when you're also teaching, because real estate changes so fast, laws change, forms change. So when we're helping students, we're current. I mean, we're in the trenches. So yeah, we're buying and selling ourselves. And now that number that you gave is up to like 12 to 15 a month, and we're growing and growing.
Wow. So all these strategies that you teach, do they apply to a certain area? So you mentioned US and Canada, or can they be applied globally?
Yeah, they can. We've had interest recently in Africa and Europe. So, real estate's real estate. It's always going to be bought and sold with very few exceptions. These will work anywhere. We've got people in Australia who bought our course. That's just where we choose to. We can only go so fast and to hit so many people. So we've got a lot of work to do still in the US, but we're starting to break into Canada.
I see. So is this like an online course, or do you provide some sort of a support in the real world, as in, helping students negotiate deals or find deals and whatnot?
Yeah, so good question, because we have I'm big on, let's go look at things for free first, right? Because there's so many different ways you can go in real estate, so many different niches, and I have all those on my podcast. But I want someone to say, well, I want to dip my toe in, but I want to do it for free. Good. Yeah. So later on in the show, we'll maybe offer one of the books for your listeners. But in the meantime, they can go to a free webinar. That's kind of like the base. It's free. If they can listen to me for another hour, they get a free webinar. We give them some great gifts for just hanging out and listening. Then at the end of that, if they want to, they can participate in the online course. It's about a $9,000 course for $997. It's crazy. I want people to see that and then understand, do I want to go further or not? And then yes, to keep going on the progression here, we do offer email support for a full year with that course. It's online. Then goes fast or slow as they want. It's 10 modules. It's pretty robust. Over 60 videos, over 90 different steps. And so that's kind of the foundation. And then after that, throughout the whole course, they're going to be given different options to either go do deals on their own, plenty do, or if they want to go faster, they might want to do deals with us. Just depends on what, their plans.
I see.
Good question.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was really good. Now, one thing you brought up which is very fascinating. You said they can do deals with us. So what does that exactly mean? They can take the course and then come back to you and sort of do a deal with you. How does that work?
Yeah, so we do two things that I think are dramatically different in the market. I'm not so naive to say nobody's doing it, but there's a big gap in the industry right now between a time that someone takes a course or goes to a seminar and then actually gets a deal done. Like this gap, and sometimes it's so big they never get a deal done. I've had students call me and say, I've spent tens of thousands in education, I haven't done a deal. I have two of my students that have spent six figures before meeting us and didn't complete a deal, which is crazy. They're doing great now with us. Why? Because of what you just asked. We actually have different programs at different levels, but they can do deals with us where it's their deal, it's their company. but we actually will call their sellers with them. We'll call their buyers with them. We'll consult them on the deal. It's not like one call a week. It's hands-on as much as needed. We match effort for effort. And so that's closing that gap, Manuj, if you can imagine that. I mean, they have someone that's a team that's in the trenches every day, helping them on that one deal, that first deal they're trying to get done. And it just cuts that learning curve right down. It's dramatically different than anything else out there.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how does that work? Like, is this your business model, like, create associates who are doing deals on your behalf or within your network? I mean, what is the end game here? Like, you want to educate a lot of people about this. So how does that work?
Okay, so the end game is this. We have a set of values. We have a mission. We have a purpose. The mission is to dominate the real estate mentoring space, but we're going to do that by helping empowering individuals and families and helping get them to 1,500 transactions as a group by 2022. And so we've got it's going to take about 125 of them around the country, and we've got about 60 something right now. So we're about halfway there to our goal.
I see. So now, is this also, like, as you put it, no cash, no banks, or those type of your personal funds going into these deals?
Yeah, super important, because especially for the new investor or someone trying to make a switch from a job change, career change, no signing on bank loans. So if you don't have credit or don't want to use your credit, good, don't. That's how I got myself in trouble in the '08 crash. Too many personally signed loans. And then all our deals are bought on terms. And terms means, for someone that's not familiar with that, lease purchase, whereby a seller agrees to let us make their mortgage payment directly so it stays in their name. But we put what we call a tenant buyer in the home. That's a buyer that just needs time to fix their credit or save more money. That payment we collect from our buyer, our tenant buyer, is higher than the outgo on the mortgage. And so we create a little payday there, and then we, of course, mark the price up. We also get a non-refundable down payment, so you're dealing with a buyer, not a tenant. So buy it on terms, no money down. Fill it with a tenant buyer. Create 3 paydays per deal, and those 3 paydays average around $75,000 per deal. You're talking about significant numbers.
Wow. And so a lot of people are skeptical when they hear these stories about no cash deals. So how do you convince them that this is actually real, and you are doing something which is not a lot of people either understand, or even if they understand, they're very hesitant to share these strategies?
Yeah. Okay. So two ends of that question. One is the seller, right? You have to talk to say, we want to buy this home, lease purchase or owner financing. And by the way, there's nothing down. Okay. So that's one communication you have. So I'll answer that, and then the student one. On that front, it's all about solving whatever challenge they have, Manuj, because you've got right now in the marketplace about 80%. It depends on the market, but roughly speaking, 70 to 80% of the buyers can't get a loan today. And it's getting worse because the banks are getting tighter and tighter. So if that's the case, guess what? The sellers have a small buyer pool to market to, and they're realizing this frustration. So now more and more deals are getting done on terms. Well, I'll give you an example. In the early 90s, maybe 3 or 4% tops were real estate transactions in the United States were done on terms, lease purchase, owner financing. The article I was reading on a national basis talked about it getting up into the teens now, like 15, 16% of the transactions. That's a lot. And then I would expect that to grow and grow because banks are not getting easier to deal with. Like for example, if you go in your town right now and you go into a subdivision of say 100 homes, I will tell you there's a large percentage of them, probably 30 or 40%, that have a mortgage that couldn't qualify again today. It's a big number. So now on the student front, it's real easy. We've got real stories and real reviews by the hundreds on our website, and they see that, and they're real people. I mean, these people aren't real estate experts. These are engineers, stay-at-home moms, retirees, and they're doing deals with our system. So it's not where you are. It's just if you're coachable and if you're willing to give this a nice commitment. A nice commitment is not, I'll try this out for 2 or 3 months. It's a big business. You got to commit to it.
Yeah. So are you saying that somebody, let's say, somebody in a corporate environment, they want to leave that job and become a real estate entrepreneur? Is it entirely possible for them?
Yeah. So, okay. So we have 2 sides of that. One group in our community, we call it the Wicked Smart community. One group says, yeah, you know what? I love that size of those deals because they're big deals. And I want to go ahead and do that with my job. They like their job. The other side says, I want to get the heck out. Give me a plan. Give me a bridge to show me how to do that. And so the most recent one was Mike in California. He's only like 32 or 33. He's got a 1-year-old baby. He set a goal for 2 years to leave his job in February of 17. In March, I think it was May of 19, he left officially and he's full-time with us. That was his goal. So whatever your plan is, as a listener, we can help you do that. You don't have to be full-time. Very few of our students are full-time. But if that's your goal, we'll help you do it.
Awesome. And so does it only work for a certain type of properties, maybe, properties like small homes, or does it work for any type of property, like even commercial buildings and all?
Okay, great. So you can do this on anything, right? You can buy a plane, a hotel, a car, a boat on terms, but we focus on single families. And in that process, we will run into the occasional multifamily, we'll run into the occasional land, we'll run into the occasional commercial building, but I've done all that. And so we know how to, pivot, I call it, and work on that deal. Our main focus, 98%, is single family homes. They're always going to be bought. They're always going to be sold. There's always going to be people getting married and buying homes. So it's a nice place to live and to work.
Yeah, for sure. Now, let's talk about some of the mistakes that you notice people make, maybe as your students, or maybe, when they come to you after getting frustrated from some other educators out there. So what type of mistakes people make in the real estate industry?
Two things. I'll probably think of more, but in no particular order. One is if they were beat up, meaning they didn't do a deal or they feel like somebody did not treat them well with a course or something. One mistake, believe it or not, is to keep that in their mind trying to make a decision going forward, because it'll just cripple them. Because I had this bad experience, I don't know if I should do this. Well, you just took away your whole career. So that's one problem. Get rid of the past. You made a mistake by doing that. Okay, move on, like many students have with us. Second one is mismanaged expectations. That's a big mistake, meaning they see a new commercial, late night TV, get rich quick. Too many things are out there and it's a bunch of junk. We're the first ones to say, this is going to be work, but the payoff is huge, so stick with us. And so manage expectations. And if I had to put a time frame on that, I'd say work your business in your life so that it might take 6 months to do your first deal. You might do it sooner, great. But if you don't, you're not going to be upset with yourself. And then commit for 3 years. 3 years. And put your head down and follow us for 3 years. You'll have a phenomenal experience. And that's not just us. If you said to me, Chris, let's go open a restaurant tomorrow, I'd say, great, Manuj, let's find someone that's doing it. Let's find someone that knows in the trenches how to do it. And let's just do whatever they tell us to do for 3 years. The same thing. It doesn't matter what business you're in.
Exactly. And so you said that, this can be done on part-time basis as well. What is the minimum time commitment you'll require from somebody? So let's say they don't want to lose their job, and because they want the income coming in at least for that 6 months. So what is the minimum time commitment here?
Yeah, tough to say because I don't know everybody's skill sets, right? But I'll give you some markers. Mike, I'll use Mike again. Mike was commuting. He had a 12-hour shift, basically. He was working for a produce company, very high, pace, high stress. So he would commute 1 hour in, 1 hour back. He would do his calls during that time frame. And then his brother would be with him commuting to the same job. And so one would drive and one would help the other one make calls. And then on Saturdays, he would do his appointments. Now doing that in that 2-year period, he created 4 deals, over $330,000 in those 3 paydays I referenced earlier. But that's pretty big. Part-time, and create that kind of an income. And now full-time, I'm sure he'll do phenomenal. But they got to probably try to find, depending on what their goals are, right? I don't want to plant goals in people's heads, but maybe 5 to 7 to 10 hours would do a really good start. And then they could decide, hey, I'm good with doing a few of these a year. I'll just key it back a little bit. Or I want to ramp this up and find more time because the deals are quite lucrative. I see. So, and the other mistake, I should have said this, is the whole confidence thing, the space between our ears. So we help them with that. This isn't just about real estate, because a lot of them come to the table. I can teach skill sets to them blue in the face, and they're all the same. Everybody gets taught the same thing. Why then does some people hit $1 million in 12 months and some people take 5 years? It's just usually between the ears.
Yeah, I was going to say, getting on the call and talking to people, that's another skill set. So do you screen the people who come into your program to make sure that they get the right success that they're looking for?
Okay, so anyone can buy our online course. It's called QLS, Quantum Leap System Video Program, and it lives on Smart Real Estate Coach Academy. Anyone can buy that. We don't restrict it. If they want to apply for one of the other programs, there's 5 different programs. once they're in the course. They go through it and they start to see, I might fit in that program. I might fit in this program. They have to apply. And then not only do we all call them, there's 4 or 5 of us that call them to make sure they're a fit for our Wicked Smart community, because our community is super strong. We want to protect it, but also to protect them. If it's not going to be a fit, we're going to tell them. So we have rejected people, just not a fit. It doesn't mean they can't go out and do deals on their own. It's just not a fit for our community. That's all.
I see. And so how about digital marketing? Can that play a role in this? Like, these days, a lot of things are being automated. Cold calling is sort of moving away, replaced by Facebook ads and whatnot. So can that play a role in this as well?
There's a lot of automation, even from when I started doing terms deals, end of 12, beginning of 2013, lots of automation. So massive amounts of calling, like 300, 400, 500 at a time, automated. Virtual assistants that do our calling. So we're just talking to the cream of the crop, the people that want to talk to us, the people that want to speak about terms. Automation is with respect to the CRM, how we manage leads and message leads. Yeah, there's a ton of automation. And of course, the Facebook Marketplace and other websites.
Awesome. And so let's talk about risk now, because obviously there is some sort of inherent risk here. So how do you minimize that risk? And maybe I'll talk about the 2008 crash later, but let's just cover what about the basic risks that are in this game.
Yeah, so when buying on terms, you're not putting any of your money down and you're not signing your name personally. So no one's going to come looking for your assets because you didn't pledge them. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the agreements have been adjusted and the forms have been adjusted and tweaked and edited several times since we started the terms business. Let's just say officially in 13 with the laser focus. So all that to say, when you use the right system, have the right support team, and have the right legal paperwork, now you've protected yourself the best you can. There's nothing that's fail-safe, but you've protected yourself the best way you can, and our agreements do that very, very well. Very custom.
I see. And so if there was a crash, God forbid, if there was a crash coming like in 2008, so these type of deals will not get affected, or they will not wipe you out, and you won't lose any kind of money.
No, best place you could be. The longer, let's picture this. Let's say I buy a house. This will get people thinking, I would think. They buy a house for, say, $300,000, and it's owner financing, meaning I'm paying the owner instead of the bank. And my payments are principal-only payments, never interest. So each month, let's say I have a 10-year term, for this example. Each month I'm paying, let's say, $1,000, but that $1,000 goes to principal. And in 10 years, do the math. And in 10 years, that is a crazy amount of principal pay down. The market could cut in half, which I don't think it's going to, but it could cut in half. Secondly, everything you do with our forms, everything is renegotiable. So if we just recently, I'll give you an example. I like to give live examples. We had a home recently where the tenant buyers had a tragic life event. That happens, right? It happens every year a few times to us. Yeah. And they had to leave the home. The expiration date we had with the seller was coming up. Well, we had a great relationship and we were paying his mortgage for 3 years. So as recent as yesterday morning, I called him and said, we got a few options. I gave him 3 options. He picked one and we're fine. We're both happy. So we don't have to cash him out tomorrow. We've renegotiated the deal.
I see.
Everything's renegotiable. Why? Because you don't have any cash and they don't have any leverage on you.
Yeah. Great. And now let's talk about 2008 crash. So you said that you lost money. What kind of lessons did you learn? And do you think there were some actions you could have taken to prevent that loss?
Yeah. So do you have 3 hours?
Wow. We have a few minutes for sure.
I can. Yeah. So the mistakes were we signed personally on every property, went to the bank like most people are used to doing, went to the bank, put a down payment down and borrowed money. Well, that's the biggest mistake on the planet. And I would tell you never, ever do it unless it's for your own building or your own house. And, it's different. The only thing that I would say to do that is your residence. So then when the market crashed, banks don't really care who you are. They're coming looking for your assets because the real estate market just sucked out all the equity. Now they got to come looking for assets. So that was about a 4-year from February of 2008 till February of 12, almost exactly. That was a part to full-time job, winding down the properties, going through short sales, going through foreclosure, negotiating with banks, negotiating with creditors, negotiating with IRS, all of that. And all of that could have been avoided by not signing personally and buying on terms. Even though I was in real estate for whatever then, 18 some odd years, or 17 years, I hadn't done things on terms. I knew pieces of it, but I didn't really know how to dial in the business. And that's what we created now.
I see. I see. Now let's talk about, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of tech entrepreneurs as well. And, there's this glamorous thing out there, they want to make a unicorn company. They want to launch a $1 billion company. They go after, the latest trend, software, IoT and whatnot. So, obviously real estate is a traditional business, and more millionaires are made in real estate than in any other industry.
You
so
bet.
what will you say to them? Like, do you still think real estate is a very good way to go, or they should look at other type of glamorous industries?
Well, that's going to be personality driven, but I'll tell you from a buyer standpoint, I would tell them no matter how much huge success they're having in that category, in that industry, in that niche, learn the skill set. Because what if you just bought your family or your kids or any family member one home every 4 or 5 years, and that was your residence? Okay, well, that's a reason to learn it. What if you were to, in your retirement account, in Canada it's a little different, but in the United States, what if you were to put one of these in your retirement account, your self-directed IRA or 401k or profit sharing, one a year that grew tax-free, $75,000 a pop? Why not do that? That would take little to no time. And so do I think they should learn the skill set? I absolutely do think they should learn the skill set. And then they could take it to whatever level they want. But that takes little to no effort once they learn it.
Yeah, that's great. And so can this be applied to some other industries? Maybe you mentioned restaurants earlier, or other retail stores and these type of things. Like, can this be applied in those areas as well? I could create the same business model terms in the airplane business, in the car business, in almost anything you can buy and sell. You can create terms. Look at the whole car business is a whole entire leasing industry, right? Yeah.
There's a whole entire leasing industry around planes. There's a whole entire leasing industry around office equipment. So you can do terms on anything.
I see. So is there a reason why you haven't expanded into those areas as well?
Yeah, good question. They're another business. It's like letting that the bright shiny object distract you. Focus. To grow a business and scale it like we have takes extreme focus, takes values, takes core, team. So not now anyway.
I see. And so you are a family-run business. So what are some of the advantages or disadvantages of a family-run business?
I can't think of a disadvantage, quite frankly, if you do it right. We have, as I alluded to earlier, 6 core values in the company. So as such, any decision that is made is based on those. It's not really a big debate. We all agreed. It wasn't me dictating. It was everyone agreed on these 6. So therefore, we hire, fire, accept students, make decisions on those 6 core values. Very simple. And then the other piece of the family is people are vested, right? Everybody's vested. Everybody has a really strong, deep desire. There's a lot of trust built up, and they all get a piece of the deals as we go. No one's got a free ride, so to speak. No one's got a salary. It's all per deal. That's a healthy environment for anyone, family or not.
Yeah. But why not, as you're growing, why not consider going public and, raising more money and growing the business?
Pre-08, I did have investors, and that keeps me up at night. That's just a personal decision. I don't want investors. I don't want people to answer to, especially when you can literally bootstrap the business by doing a deal or 2 and letting the deal generate the cash flow.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about your journey. Like, when you started way back, it turned out to be a very lucrative business for you. But along the way, you must have made some mistakes. Can you share a few with us? And obviously, 2008 was one of the big ones, but everybody suffered from that. But anything unique that you can share with us?
I don't think it's unique for an entrepreneur, to be honest with you, because I've had many. Like I kiddingly said, you have 3 hours. We could do 14 shows on the mistakes, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think if you're out there in any industry and you're talking to a mentor, and he or she says they haven't made mistakes, run, because they can't be successful without making mistakes. So the bank loan thing was a biggie. Signing on that. Another one I can think of, and any entrepreneur could relate to this, is on certain projects when I was younger, not knowing that it was okay to muscle your way through it to, that grit. There's a book out called Grit, very, very good book. So to grit your way through it and persist, and that'd be a big lesson. I mean, I've had some projects in the past, like in the 90s when I was younger, that in hindsight, I could have made my way through it, instead moved on to something else. And that's not a good thing. So now as we grow, there are challenges, and the mindset's different. The mindset is, okay, great. bring more, because that's helping us grow and grow and grow and tweak.
Yeah.
It's just the maturity.
Yeah. And you brought up a very important point, mindset. So, any successful entrepreneur have this, their mindset is slightly different. They're built differently. So what will you say to aspiring entrepreneurs? How can they develop that kind of mindset? And what sets your thinking apart from, some of the other entrepreneurs who may not have made it?
Yeah, that's a good one in any industry. Again, so I like the question. I think it's a broad answer would be who you hang out with, big time. So I have an accountability partner every Monday morning, for example. We've become very good friends. It started as a business relationship 2.5 years ago. So that's important. So every Monday morning, 15 minutes, we each share our wins, our losses, our ahas, and our fixes. And that's a 15 minutes, not a social. It's to hold each other accountable. Well, if you have someone like that and they're big thinking, that's a good thing. If you can get around mastermind groups, that's a good thing. If you can get a mentor who I said earlier is in the trenches doing what you want to do or even higher, all that's going to affect that, your brain, no question. And so that, I think that's the biggest thing, because success leaves clues, Manuj, right? That people have done what you want to do. I don't pick something, anything, they've done it. So go find them and then camp out with them for 3 years.
Awesome. That's great. And now let's talk about your podcast. So when did you start it? And, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I started in, I think it was January or February of 17 with this gentleman that now is my accountability partner and friend and brainstorm partner. And it's been phenomenal because, as you know, from doing your own show, it's opened a lot of doors. It teaches me more than probably the listeners, because you talk to so many really cool people like yourself, and you get to learn the stories, develop JV relationships. We're now, I think we're at 160 or so episodes filmed, and we're probably aired about 110 or 20. It's pretty cool. It just does a lot. And my intent on that is the same as I said earlier, expose the listeners to all different types of real estate so they can understand they have choices.
Okay. And what's the name of your show and how can people?
Yeah, it's smartrealestatecoachpodcast.com. Smartrealestatecoachpodcast.com.
Awesome. Now, it has been a very, very informative session, and you packed so much information in short. So I've actually literally run out of questions because
I got the New England pace too, so I hope they stay with me.
Exactly. But anything else that you may want to share, which I haven't already asked?
Yeah, I want to give, we have 2 best-selling books. One I authored in 17, and it really outlines our entire system, A through Z. And then one I authored with Nick and Zach, my son and son-in-law. So I'd like to give the first book out to these guys. And I don't mean, I can't stand when I go online and someone says, get my free book, and you click it and you got to pay $8 in shipping. I'm talking about if they go to this link and they say they were on your show, they heard me on your show, we'll ship the hardcover bestseller, so they don't have to go to Amazon and spend $20-something, and we'll ship it our cost. And that is free, FREE, and then S as in Sam, recbook.com. Free, SRECbook.com.
Awesome. We'll put that link in the show notes. Thank you so much for your generosity. And thank you so much for being with us today and lifting the curtain on this amazing opportunity that people may not know about. So please go check out the book and get in touch. Oh, actually, how do we get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can go to smartrealestatecoach.com. There's a contact button there. They can email support@smartrealestatecoach.com. And as I said earlier, they can also get on the free webinar there, and they'll get a strategy call with us where we talk to them for free and just help them out.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Manuj. It's a pleasure. Your questions were great.
Thanks. And that's all for now. Until next time. And if you're an existing or an aspiring tech entrepreneur, then I invite you to check out my new online workshop, Bootstrapping Your Tech Startup Dreams. Go to bootstraptechstartup.com and sign up for free. I want to make sure that more successful and sound decisions are made every day in your tech projects. Let's start finding solutions to your problems. So go to bootstraptechstartup.com and I look forward to helping you with your tech projects. If you want more engaging videos and insightful interviews with industry's thought leaders, then check out other videos we have picked for you. The link is right there. And if you want to be notified about our new content, please do consider subscribing to our channel.